If you've been feeling tired, weaker, and not quite yourself lately, there's a good chance your diet, not your age, is the real problem. Today, I'm going to show you the simple dietary shifts that can naturally reverse male weakness by targeting the root causes inside your metabolism. If I told you that a few simple diet switches could start reversing the fatigue, weakness, and sluggishness so many men deal with as they get older, would you believe me? Most guys think they just have to push through, that low energy, poor strength, and declining vitality are just part of aging. But they're not. And today, I'm going to show you the natural diet secrets that can help you rebuild strength from the inside out in a way that's simple, doable, and grounded in real physiology, exactly the way Dr. Berg explains it. Men start to feel weaker when their cells can't produce enough energy. This usually happens because of hidden insulin issues, low-quality foods, excess sugar, and nutrient deficiencies that quietly drain performance day after day. When your diet pushes your insulin too high, your body can't access stored fat for fuel. And when you can't burn fat, your energy crashes, your stamina drops, your motivation disappears, and your body starts depending entirely on sugar to survive. That's a recipe for weakness. The first diet secret is to lower insulin so your body finally switches back to fat burning mode. That means cutting out the biggest offenders: sugar, refined carbs, processed snacks, and constant grazing. When you let insulin fall, something powerful happens. Your mitochondria, the engines of your cells, wake up. They start generating cleaner, more stable energy. Most men don't realize how quickly this shift can bring back clarity, drive, and strength. When you burn fat, your energy becomes steady, not up and down like the sugar roller coaster. You start to feel solid again. The second secret is to increase high-quality, nutrient-dense foods that directly support male vitality. Think proteins that actually repair muscle and support recovery. Think healthy fats that rebuild hormones naturally without forcing anything artificially. Foods like eggs, grass-fed meat, salmon, avocados, olive oil, and leafy greens supply the amino acids, omega-3s, and fat-soluble vitamins men are chronically missing. When the body finally gets these raw materials, strength improves in a way you can feel. Your muscle fibers fire better, your endurance improves, your brain sharpens, and you start waking up with more drive and purpose instead of dragging yourself out of bed. Next, we need to talk about minerals. Men are running extremely low in key minerals like potassium, magnesium, zinc, and selenium. These are the silent power sources behind energy production, muscle contraction, oxygen delivery, and hormone support. Without enough of them, no diet can fix how you feel. This is why adding vegetables, electrolytes, sea salt, nuts, seeds, and mineral-rich foods makes such a dramatic difference. Potassium alone helps your cells use insulin more efficiently, which naturally boosts strength and reverses metabolic sluggishness. Magnesium helps with sleep, muscle relaxation, and recovery so you're not sore and exhausted all the time. Zinc supports normal hormonal balance, which affects mood, confidence, and physical performance. Another powerful secret is fasting, used correctly and safely. Dr. Berg always talks about how fasting gives your body a chance to repair instead of constantly digesting. When men give themselves even a 16-hour fasting window, inflammation drops, insulin stabilizes, and the body starts burning fat effortlessly. And here's the part most men don't expect. Fasting boosts mental clarity, sharpens focus, and increases a sense of stability and strength. You simply feel more in control again, and that confidence spreads into everything: work, relationships, daily challenges. Now let's talk about liver health, because this is a hidden cause of weakness that almost nobody is aware of. If the liver is overloaded with sugar, seed oils, alcohol, medications, or processed foods, it slows down your metabolism and energy production. A sluggish liver means a sluggish man. Supporting the liver with cruciferous vegetables, lemon water, apple cider vinegar, herbs, and low-carb eating helps detoxify excess fat from the liver so it can start producing energy and hormones the way it's supposed to. When your liver wakes up, you wake up. Another overlooked factor is inflammation. Chronic inflammation quietly eats away at your energy, strength, and stamina. Men who cut out inflammatory foods like sugar, wheat, seed oils, and fried foods often feel stronger within days. Adding turmeric, garlic, ginger, berries, and omega-3 fats helps calm the internal fire so the body can actually rebuild. When inflammation drops, your joints feel lighter, your muscles perform better, and your overall vitality rises. And then there's one more powerful secret: stabilizing cortisol. High stress destroys male energy levels. It drains your reserves, interrupts your sleep, burns out your motivation, and disrupts metabolism. When you lower carbs, increase healthy fats, and give your body enough minerals, cortisol naturally balances. Better sleep returns, recovery improves, your body starts operating in power mode, not survival mode. Put all of these together: lower insulin, nutrient-dense foods, minerals, fasting, liver support, inflammation control, and stress balance, and you get a natural, powerful reversal of weakness. You're not forcing anything. You're simply removing the stressors that drain men and feeding your body what it's been missing for years. This is how men restore energy, strength, focus, and confidence without extremes, without complicated rules, and without relying on things that only mask symptoms. This approach works because it's based on how the body is designed to function at its best. Lower insulin and switch the body back to fat-burning mode to naturally restore steady energy and strength by understanding how your metabolism was designed to function long before modern food habits disrupted it. Most men don't realize that the biggest drain on their vitality isn't age, isn't genetics, and isn't bad luck. It's chronically elevated insulin quietly blocking the body's ability to burn fat for fuel. When insulin is high, your body is locked in storage mode. It constantly takes in energy but can't release the energy already stored inside your fat cells. This creates a strange situation where you might have plenty of fuel on your body, yet your cells feel starved. That's when you start noticing low stamina, brain fog, sluggish mornings, constant hunger, irritability, and that heavy, tired feeling you can't shake. Shifting the body back to fat burning is like flipping the internal power switch back on. Insulin rises every time you eat carbohydrates, especially refined foods like bread, rice, pasta, sweets, pastries, juices, sodas, and snack foods. Over time, these frequent spikes overstimulate your cells, making them less responsive. The pancreas is then forced to release even more insulin to compensate. Eventually, you end up with chronically elevated insulin even when you're not eating. This is the early stage of insulin resistance, and it's one of the most common hidden causes of male weakness. When insulin stays high, the mitochondria can't access fat, which is the body's most efficient and long-lasting fuel source. Fat produces more energy per gram than glucose and does it in a steadier, cleaner way. Without access to this fuel, you depend on sugar for your energy, and sugar burns out quickly. This is why many men experience afternoon crashes, cravings, irritability, and slow recovery after physical activity. Lowering insulin begins by reducing the foods that keep it elevated. Cutting sugar is one of the most powerful steps because sugar forces insulin to spike sharply and creates oxidative stress that slows the mitochondria. Reducing refined carbohydrates and processed foods gives the body a chance to reset. Even simple changes like shifting to low-carb vegetables, proteins, healthy fats, and unprocessed foods reduce the metabolic burden. Many men feel the shift within days as their energy becomes smoother and their mood stabilizes. When insulin begins to drop, the body gradually unlocks stored fat and starts using it as fuel. This transition is incredibly important because burning fat requires fewer insulin spikes throughout the day, which further lowers baseline insulin levels. Another powerful strategy to lower insulin is reducing the frequency of eating. Every time you eat, even healthy food, insulin rises. Most people graze without realizing it. A snack here, a tea with sugar there, a piece of fruit later, another snack in the evening. This constant stimulation keeps insulin elevated all day. Extending the time between meals allows insulin to fall naturally. Even a simple shift to 3 meals a day with no snacking helps the body access fat stores. For some men, moving gradually toward intermittent fasting, such as a 16-8 pattern, accelerates fat burning and gives the metabolic system the rest it needs. Fasting isn't about deprivation, it's about giving the body space to use the energy it already has stored. Once insulin lowers and the body begins switching into fat burning mode, something noticeable happens. Energy becomes consistent instead of spiking and crashing. You wake up without that heavy, groggy feeling. Your focus improves because ketones, the byproduct of fat burning, are a cleaner fuel for the brain. Many men report sharper thinking, improved motivation, and better mood when their body regularly produces ketones. Physical strength becomes more stable because muscles have a constant supply of energy rather than being dependent on glucose, which runs out quickly during exertion. Recovery also improves because lower insulin reduces inflammation, allowing the muscles to repair more efficiently. Healthy fats play a crucial role in this shift. Foods like eggs, olive oil, avocados, nuts, seeds, salmon, and grass-fed meats give the body the raw material it needs to produce hormones, rebuild cell membranes, and support brain function. When healthy fats become a major part of the diet, the body adapts to using fat as its main energy source. This metabolic flexibility is what restores real strength, not the temporary rush of sugar or caffeine, but a deeper, more stable form of vitality. Vegetables, especially leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables, and fiber-rich varieties, provide minerals that support insulin sensitivity. Potassium helps the cells respond properly to insulin and allows nutrients to move efficiently across membranes. Magnesium supports over 300 biochemical reactions that stabilize energy production. These minerals are often extremely low in men who depend on processed foods or refined carbohydrates. By increasing vegetables and lowering insulin, the internal environment becomes more favorable for fat oxidation, making the shift easier and more sustainable. Lowering insulin also reduces inflammation throughout the body. High insulin often comes with elevated cortisol, disrupted sleep, and a stressed-out liver. As insulin stabilizes, cortisol becomes easier to manage, sleep quality improves, and the liver can release stored fat more effectively. This compounds the benefits of fat burning, creating a cycle of improving vitality. Men often notice less bloating, reduced joint stiffness, clearer skin, and a lighter feeling throughout the day as inflammation fades. Another important effect of lowering insulin is improved hormonal balance. When insulin is chronically high, it interferes with normal hormone production and signaling. Lowering insulin frees up the pathways responsible for maintaining physical and mental resilience. The body begins to operate with greater efficiency, and the overall sense of strength increases, not just in muscles, but in mood, decision-making, confidence, and daily stability. Switching to fat-burning mode doesn't require extreme dieting or complicated rules. It's about returning to the way the human body naturally functioned before constant snacking and refined foods became the norm. When men allow insulin to fall and support the body with nutrient-dense foods, their metabolism becomes efficient again, fat burning becomes consistent, energy becomes clean and stable, strength becomes reliable, not unpredictable. The body stops operating in emergency mode and starts functioning the way it was designed. Increase nutrient-dense foods and essential minerals to rebuild cellular power, muscle function, and overall male vitality by understanding what the body is actually made of and what it needs to function at its highest level. Most men walk around fueled at the cellular level without even realizing it. They may be eating plenty of calories, but the nutrients that actually run the machinery of the body are missing. When the body doesn't get the building blocks it needs, energy production slows down, muscles weaken, recovery becomes harder, and motivation drops. Strength doesn't come from calories alone. It comes from the vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and healthy fats that power every cell, every nerve, and every muscle fiber. When these nutrients are restored, the body responds quickly because it finally has the raw materials it has been starved of for years. Nutrient-dense foods pack a high amount of vitamins, minerals, and bioavailable proteins into relatively small amounts of calories. These are foods the body recognizes immediately and can use for energy, growth, repair, and hormone support. Eggs, for example, provide nearly every nutrient the body needs, along with high-quality protein that supports muscle strength. Grass-fed beef is rich in iron, zinc, and B vitamins that support oxygen delivery and metabolism. Fatty fish like salmon provide omega-3 fats that reduce inflammation and support brain function. These foods help rebuild a man's physical foundation in a way processed foods simply cannot. Minerals are even more important because they drive the electrical and chemical activity of the body. If vitamins are the tools, minerals are the sparks. Without enough minerals, nothing works properly. Potassium allows muscles and nerves to fire correctly. Magnesium supports ATP production, which is the energy currency of the cell. Zinc strengthens immunity, supports hormone balance, and aids protein synthesis. Selenium supports thyroid function and antioxidant defense. Iron carries oxygen to tissue so muscles can work without fatiguing quickly. When even one of these minerals is low, the entire system weakens. Modern diets are chronically deficient in minerals because processed foods contain almost none of them, and soil depletion has lowered the mineral content of many crops. This is why adding mineral-rich foods is one of the fastest ways to restore vitality. Leafy greens are one of the most powerful sources of potassium, magnesium, and folate. When men increase their intake of spinach, kale, arugula, Swiss chard, and other greens, they often notice improvements in energy, digestion, and muscle function. Cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cabbage, and Brussels sprouts support detoxification pathways that remove waste from cells, allowing them to perform more efficiently. Avocados provide healthy fats and potassium. Nuts and seeds supply magnesium, zinc, and essential fatty acids. Sea salt delivers sodium and trace minerals needed for hydration and nerve function. These foods help recharge the internal battery by giving the body what it has been missing. Protein quality matters just as much as quantity. The body needs amino acids to repair muscle fibers, restore connective tissue, and maintain a strong metabolism. When men rely on low-quality protein sources, they may consume enough grams but not enough of the amino acids required for optimal repair. High-quality proteins like eggs, grass-fed meat, chicken thighs, sardines, and wild-caught fish contain the full spectrum of essential amino acids and forms the body can absorb efficiently. Collagen-rich foods like bone broth support joint health and tissue repair. When the body receives complete proteins, muscles recover faster, strength increases, and physical performance improves naturally. Healthy fats are another essential component for rebuilding cellular power. Every cell membrane in the body is made of fat, and the quality of fat you eat determines the quality of your cell membranes. If you consume damaged fats like seed oils, your cells become inflamed and weak. But when you consume healthy fats like olive oil, coconut oil, grass-fed butter, eggs, nuts, seeds, and fatty fish, your cells become more flexible and efficient. Healthy fats also support the production of hormones that drive male vitality, including mood, motivation, and strength. Omega-3 fatty acids reduce inflammation, protect the cardiovascular system, and support brain health, which directly affects energy and mental clarity. B vitamins are critical for energy metabolism. They help convert food into fuel and support the nervous system. Foods like liver, eggs, meat, and nutritional yeast supply B vitamins in highly bioavailable forms. Vitamin D obtained from sunlight and fatty fish supports immunity, muscle function, and overall male vitality. Vitamin C from citrus, berries, and peppers supports collagen formation, antioxidant protection, and immune strength. Vitamin E from nuts and seeds protects cells from oxidative stress. When these vitamins work together with essential minerals, the body becomes more resilient and energetic. Hydration is another part of nutrient density that often gets ignored. Water alone isn't enough to hydrate the body properly. It needs minerals to carry electrical signals through cells. When men increase electrolytes, particularly sodium, potassium, and magnesium, they often notice immediate improvements in energy, mental clarity, and physical performance. Proper hydration helps muscles contract efficiently, reduces cramping, and improves endurance. Digestive health also plays a major role in nutrient absorption. Even if you eat nutrient-dense foods, your body can't use them if digestion is compromised. Foods rich in fiber, fermented foods like sauerkraut and kefir, and probiotics help support the gut microbiome, which improves nutrient absorption. When digestion improves, more vitamins, minerals, and amino acids reach the cells, and overall vitality increases. Inflammation is another factor that blocks nutrient utilization. When inflammation is high, the body uses nutrients to fight stress instead of building strength. Nutrient-dense foods naturally lower inflammation, making the body more efficient at using nutrients for growth and repair. Omega-3 fats, leafy greens, berries, turmeric, garlic, and ginger all help calm inflammation, which frees up cellular energy for muscle function, brain power, and overall resilience. As nutrient levels rise, the mitochondria, the tiny power plants inside cells, begin to function more efficiently. They produce more ATP, which translates to better strength, more stamina, and sharper mental focus. This is why men often feel alive. Again, when nutrient density increases, they are not just eating better, they are fueling their cells so they can operate at full capacity. When the body is supplied with high-quality nutrients and minerals consistently, muscles recover faster, energy lasts longer, and daily tasks feel easier. Strength training becomes more effective, sleep becomes deeper, and stress becomes easier to handle because the body is supported at the biochemical level. True vitality is built from the inside out, and nutrient-dense foods provide the foundation for a stronger, more energized, and more resilient body. Support liver health, reduce inflammation, and balance cortisol through low-carb eating and fasting to reverse weakness naturally by giving the body a break from the constant metabolic stress that comes from sugar, refined carbohydrates, and continuous eating. The liver is the central hub of energy production, detoxification, hormone processing, and fat metabolism. When it becomes overloaded, everything slows down. Men often experience weakness, low stamina, irritability, stubborn belly fat, and foggy thinking without realizing the liver is behind it. A sluggish liver cannot efficiently convert stored fat into usable fuel, cannot regulate blood sugar properly, and cannot keep inflammation under control. By lowering carbohydrate intake and introducing fasting, the liver finally gets the rest and support it needs to regenerate, clear toxins, and restore metabolic balance. Low-carb eating immediately reduces the burden on the liver. Carbohydrates, especially refined ones, force the liver to store excess glucose as fat. Over time, this leads to fatty liver, insulin resistance, and a constant cycle of energy crashes. When carbs are reduced, the liver no longer has to deal with huge sugar surges. Instead, it shifts to burning fat for energy. This shift not only supports liver function, but also helps reduce inflammation because fat burning produces fewer unstable byproducts than glucose burning. As the body becomes more metabolically flexible, energy becomes steadier and more reliable. Men start waking up with more clarity and strength because the liver is no longer overwhelmed. Fasting enhances this process by giving the liver extended periods without incoming food to process. During fasting windows, the liver begins clearing out old fat deposits, repairing damaged cells, and improving insulin sensitivity. Autophagy, the body's natural cellular cleanup process, becomes more active. This reduces inflammation at the cellular level and helps improve metabolic efficiency. When inflammation drops, men feel lighter, clearer, and more stable because the entire system is no longer fighting constant internal irritation. Muscles start working more efficiently, and energy levels rise because fewer resources are being diverted toward managing inflammation. The connection between liver health and cortisol is often overlooked. Cortisol is the body's main stress hormone, and when it stays elevated for too long, it weakens the immune system, disrupts sleep, slows down muscle recovery, and contributes to fat accumulation, especially around the midsection. The liver plays a key role in clearing excess cortisol from the bloodstream. If the liver is congested or overworked, cortisol stays elevated longer, creating a cycle of stress, fatigue, and weakness. Low-carb eating helps stabilize blood sugar, which prevents the sudden crashes that trigger cortisol spikes. When blood sugar remains steady, cortisol naturally begins to balance. Fasting deepens this effect by improving insulin sensitivity and reducing the need for emergency stress hormones to keep energy levels stable. Reducing inflammation is one of the most powerful outcomes of supporting the liver with low-carb eating and fasting. Inflammation quietly wears down the body's strength. It contributes to joint pain, muscle stiffness, digestive issues, mental fog, and low mood. Sugars and refined carbs are major inflammatory triggers because they cause rapid rises in blood sugar, promote oxidation, and overload the liver. Low-carb diets eliminate these triggers and replace them with nutrient-dense foods that naturally calm inflammation. Healthy fats such as olive oil, avocados, eggs, salmon, and nuts provide the essential fatty acids that help repair cell membranes and reduce inflammatory signaling. Vegetables rich in antioxidants help neutralize free radicals. As inflammation decreases, muscles perform better, endurance increases, and the body feels more stable. Fasting also lowers inflammation by reducing the production of inflammatory cytokines and allowing immune cells to function more efficiently. During fasting windows, the body becomes better at identifying and removing damaged cells, including dysfunctional immune cells that contribute to chronic inflammation. This process strengthens the immune system while reducing the overall inflammatory load. When inflammation goes down, Energy production improves because the mitochondria are no longer under constant attack from oxidative stress. The result is a noticeable increase in stamina, resilience, and overall vitality. Supporting the liver also improves hormone balance, which plays a major role in male strength and well-being. The liver helps metabolize hormones and maintain their proper levels in the bloodstream. When it's overworked, hormone imbalances become more likely. Low-carb eating reduces the metabolic chaos that disrupts hormonal pathways. Fasting enhances this by reducing insulin levels, which indirectly supports the proper functioning of other hormones involved in energy, strength, and mood. As hormone balance improves, men feel calmer, stronger, and more motivated because their internal communication system is working correctly again. Another benefit of supporting liver health through low-carb eating and fasting is improved digestion. When insulin levels stabilize and inflammation decreases, bile production improves. Bile is essential for digesting fats and absorbing fat-soluble vitamins like D and K. These vitamins support immunity, vision, bone strength, antioxidant protection, and cellular repair. Many men who struggle with weakness are not absorbing nutrients efficiently. When the liver and gallbladder start functioning better, nutrient absorption increases, giving the body the raw materials it needs to rebuild strength from the inside out. Balancing cortisol is also tied to sleep quality, which is essential for reversing weakness. High cortisol disrupts the sleep cycle, making it harder to fall asleep and stay asleep. Poor sleep reduces muscle recovery, lowers mental clarity, and increases cravings for sugary foods, which then raise insulin and inflammation again. When low-carb eating stabilizes blood sugar and fasting resets metabolic rhythms, cortisol naturally drops to healthier levels. Once cortisol is lower, sleep becomes deeper and more restorative. Better sleep translates to better recovery, improved muscle strength, and sharper mental focus. Low-carb eating and fasting also help reduce visceral fat, which is metabolically active and produces inflammatory chemicals that weaken the body. Visceral fat surrounds the organs and signals the body to stay in a stressed, inflamed state. When insulin levels drop through low-carb diets and fasting, the body begins burning this fat for fuel. As visceral fat decreases, inflammation drops, hormonal function improves, and metabolic health strengthens. Men often feel a surge of energy as visceral fat declines because the internal systems are no longer being suppressed by inflammation and hormonal imbalance. Supporting the liver allows the entire metabolic system to run more efficiently. When the liver is functioning at a high level, toxins are cleared faster, energy is produced more consistently, and nutrients are processed more effectively. In this state, the body is no longer fighting against itself. Instead, it becomes aligned with the natural rhythms of fat metabolism, hormonal balance, and energy production. Low-carb eating and fasting give the liver the space it needs to heal and the environment it needs to thrive, which translates into noticeable improvements in strength, vitality, mental clarity, and overall resilience. By combining these approaches, men create conditions where weakness naturally reverses because the root causes are being addressed at the biochemical level. The liver becomes lighter and more efficient, inflammation drops, cortisol balances, and the entire system begins to function in harmony.